Meet my co-hosts, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We're going to have some amazing guests on the show. Buckle up tight, because we're going to be talking about the shit you're not supposed to be talking about. We're going to be discussing anything and everything it takes to become a legend of iron.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by MuscleNets, the creator of Carnivore. Carnivore is the most powerful beef protein on the planet. Welcome to another edition of Legends of Iron. We have got a killer episode for you. I'm John Anderson. Joining me, as always, my partners in crime, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We have got a guest for you today that I can't even tell you how strong he is. This guy was destined for strength. Originally from Latvia, he used to help his grandfather carry large stones around the farm. So he was pre-programmed for where he is right now. His destiny was to be a strong dude. But now there's people that are strong, and then there's people that are very strong, and then there's people that are just fucking downright cock strong. And this is our guest, the 2019 World's Strongest Man, Martins Licis. Welcome to the show.
Martins.
What's going down, brother?
Martins! Yeah, thank you.
What's up, brother?
Guys. What an honor.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, one thing I got to make clearly, you were destined for what you're doing right now. But I'd love to hear, and I'm sure everyone would love to hear a little bit more about how this whole thing started off. You were just a young boy carrying around stones in your grandfather's farm over in Latvia. And it sounds like you were strong right from the beginning. So talk to us about this.
I definitely was. And of course, I was spending all this time on my farms, lifting rocks and stuff. The real way I really got started in lifting, though, was my dad. I was a total couch potato, loved playing video games. I mean, secretly still do. My dad saw me getting out of shape.
Right there with you.
Yeah. And my dad was like, okay, I've had enough of this. And he pulled me into the gym and started training me. And I freaking hated it. I was like 9 years old. And my dad said, look, just stick with it for a year. And if you don't like it, you can stop. And so I did. I stuck with it for a year. And lo and behold, I grew addicted. And then by the time I was a teenager, I was already stronger than like most adults in the gym. All my teachers, all the adults in the school were stronger than. And I would visit my farmland in Latvia during the summers, where my grandfather was like, he was a stone sculptor. So he had all these big rocks, and he would show me how to move them and lift them. And I was doing this heavy farm work and moving rocks on the farm. And this curiosity kind of peaked in my mind, where I was just wondering, what is the biggest stuff a human can lift? Never mind the weights on machines that are abstract. Who knows what that shit means anyways? Like, what is the biggest log we're going to move? Like, I was curious, can a human being pick up a car or pull an airplane? And then I saw it on TV. These guys are answering these questions. So that was strongman. And I thought, they're basically doing overweight farmers work anyway. So that's what I was doing. And I thought, yeah, all right, I'm set up. I want to be the world's strongest man.
I love it, brother. I love it. Love it, man. Real quick, Nick, somebody's got something going on in the background. Is that, is there somebody that can close the door, something going on? There's a lot of sound going on.
It's probably smashing because I got, or is it?
No, it sounds like voices. Are you hearing that too, Nick? Is it, we wanted, Occam, do you have your door closed wherever you are, brother?
No, I'm alone. There's nobody here. I'm inside Dragon's Lair.
I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to tell people. Yeah.
So, guys, I'm in Dragon's Lair gym.
Hey, guys, if you do conversations, could you do it like away from the door? Thank you.
There we go. I think that's it.
Sean, library voice.
Look at that. Martins is entertaining us when he's not even in the goddamn picture. That's why he's a great fucking guest on the show. I fucking love it. So clearly you saw the show, you were like, that's what I want to do. And that was pretty much where the journey started, huh, brother?
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. So when I first met you, you were what, 19? Or 18?
I think it was 20. 20, yeah.
You were 20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good grief.
Nick, we were talking about before we started recording. Martins and I were talking about. I was doing the announcing at one of the contests when he was like 20 years old. He was a kid in great shape. I couldn't tell if he was a bodybuilder trying to be a strongman, but he said, but he was cock strong even then. And then he said, I had to give the abs away to take this path,
Oh, for sure. No, because I remember going out to Ode Hagen's house, and Martins is there, and we're messing with the IFSA shield. That thing's 402. And I'm trying to learn how to pick it up.
Yeah.
And Martins picks it up. He's a 402-pound shield, and he picks it up, and he's carrying it. It's just like, oh, my God, this kid's 20. Yikes. So
that's that farm strength,
Yeah. And then we did a tug of war because we were getting ready for the Fit Expo, and we had a tug of war thing. And remember the rubber band on the tug of war? And we had the tire between us.
That thing was brutal, and I remember you were and still are. You were like my idol, and I was like, oh gosh, I gotta show this guy that I'm strong.
You did,
like,
because I was sweating it. I was like, man, I gotta pull this kid over this tire because I gotta work. He's gonna kill me. Even back then, and you were that strong even back then, so it's pretty impressive.
I appreciate it, and let me tell you, I have actually a funny story with that shield. You guys know Chad Wesley Smith? He was a powerlifter. Yeah. He also came by, and this is before him and I. Neither of us at this time had touched the shield, and he was also starting to train for strongman. And I also got him and I got so competitive with each other. So I would attempt the shield. We were at this for like an hour. I was trying to pick the shield, and then I dropped. I couldn't get it past my knees. He tried to pick the shield. He couldn't get past his knees. I got it up to my knees, then couldn't get it farther. He dropped. Then I dropped it. Then he got it up to his knees. And then at some point, I muscled it up all the way up, and I was able to walk with the shield. Took a few steps. I came back, and I was so happy. I was like, yeah! I picked up my arms, and that shield came right down onto my foot.
Ooh! Ooh!
Goodness!
Oh, that's no joke either.
Oh yeah! I got a slight
real quick,
Martins.
Forgive me for keep interrupting you, brother. Just want to make sure our sound quality is where people can hear you. Is that
I don't think those sounds are for me.
That's not you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's got to be. Then I guess it's just the background of the Dragon's Lair we'll have to deal with because nobody's messing with Flex Lewis.
Yeah, we can't turn it down any lower. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. No worries. All right, we got everything under control. Forgive me for interrupting. Go ahead.
No worries. Then I was going to say, so I dropped the shield on my foot. I'm pretty sure I fractured it. I couldn't really quite walk right for a little while. Never saw a doctor for it. But right after, so then I'm laying on the ground with ice on my foot. Chad goes and picks up the shield successfully because he's inspired that I did it. Does the same thing, takes a few steps, and he does the same thing I just did. Cheers, drops on his foot. And both of us are just sitting there at the end of the day with ice on our feet.
Oh my gosh.
There's something about, I remember training at Odes. There's something about, especially back in those garage days when you were training out, you'd roll up that door and you'd spend the afternoon just beating the complete Christ out of yourself. I would remember being so sore from some of those training sessions, pulling some vehicle up the hill, that big tire. And he had all, for a little garage, I shouldn't say little, it was a big garage, but he had everything you needed in there. So those are great. Anybody who trained in that garage had great experiences and learned a ton. I'm sure you probably
one of the most complete strongman sets in the world, I think.
Yeah.
You must have learned a ton working in that garage, with Ode.
That was
Martins.
some of the best times of my life, man. Some of the best.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something, shoot, but I forgot. Oh yeah. Speaking of how hardcore this garage is, you know those IFSA giant farmers, those ugly
Those be the cylinders.
Wait a minute.
Silver.
I love those cylinders.
Nick has a fucking world record with those cylinders.
Nick was the best at them. I gotta hand it to him. He was so fast. The yoke and farmers Nick could always destroy it. But let me tell you guys, this is what I was training with. That the lightest setting there were 260 pounds per hand. My warm-ups for farmers were just picking these and holding them for a few seconds. And then I would slowly start walking. That was my second set was a slow walk. Then my third set was a slightly faster walk. I had no lighter options.
Well, brother, you've always maintained that as a smaller strongman at the beginning. You never wanted to compete with people that were anything other than the biggest. You've always said that. You know, if I want to be the best, I got to train with the big boys. I got to compete with the big boys. So, you know, I mean, sounds like you just everything from training right all the way up to winning World's Strongest Man. You just basically said, okay, this is the job that needs to be done. I'm going to get it done. And I got to tell you, brother, I mean, your journey to the highest level, being the World's Strongest Man, has been one hell of an exciting ride, you know?
Thank you, John. It has been one hell of an exciting ride. And there were many times when I was like 230 pounds, had a six-pack abs, and was competing in heavyweight shows, and guys were looking, what are you doing? And I would end up like, in many shows, I'd be like middle pack. And people were like, what are you doing? You would destroy middleweight. You'd win it. And I'm like, that's not what I'm about. That's not what I got in this sport for. I want to be the strongest of the strong.
Yeah,
well, you
did that, bro. You got that job done very well. You know, talk to us a little bit about. You had this little bit of layoff. I mean, injuries, hit by a car. Goodness gracious, and then basically come back, and then come back and just put a huge, just straight up put a whooping on the Rogue Invitational, man. How was that training coming into that? Talk to us about that training and preparation for that.
Absolutely. I took a year and a half off after Arnold's 2020. I mean, my body was just beat up. I had nerve damage, my tendonitis everywhere. Like I felt like my knees were glass at that point. Then Nick, he's the one that suggested me this. He suggested me trying to bioaccelerate it for stem cells. So I did some stem cell therapy, and that really helped pull everything together. Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
I paired that stem cell therapy with a lot, like obsessive amount of physical corrective movements, and it just felt like the stem cells just accelerated all the physical therapy that I was already doing. And I just allowed myself that time off. I got so many invites to shows, and I would just say no until I felt my body was ready to come back again. And I had this dream. Like, the moment I got an invite from Rogue Invitational, I thought I have to take that, because I think Rogue does things right. They do things well, and I believe that if they are coming into the world of strongman, they're gonna be a big name. So I figured, first competition by Rogue, I'm in.
Very cool. During that time off, were you doing some more bodybuilding type training to let your body heal, but still obviously make progress?
Absolutely. I did a lot more bodybuilding, isometric work also to build up my tendon strength, also higher repetition work just to build up my work capacity, a lot of unilateral work to build up my stability. I just try to hit my body from all different angles and any which way I could, but everything except for heavy. I just avoided heavy weights for a while.
Well, it's crazy. It seems like in bodybuilding or in strength, you're always kind of cross-pollinating the training. You know, like Occam, he's now obviously training not quite as heavy, but earlier in his career, talk about that. You were just training just to fucking crush weights. Now you're kind of realizing it's kind of better to mix the two, yeah?
Definitely, man. I remember seeing Ronnie Coleman squat 8 plates and I think it was 8 plates and some tens.
Right? Who
And
hasn't seen that one?
my dream was to actually put on 8 plates and a quarter.
Yeah.
The beginning of me bodybuilding, I didn't care. I went balls to wall, and I finally did it. I think it was about 2-3 years ago. I finally put 8 plates and a quarter, and I got it.
Badass.
And I got it on camera
badass.
too.
Oh, I
Nice.
want to see that.
Nice, brother.
Well done,
No
my man.
shit. No shit. That's big stuff, brother. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Beast.
Without a suit too.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, man. I did a lot of training that was not for bodybuilding at all.
Respect for sure.
Well, I think it's kind of no matter what you're doing, seems like whether it's you're in strength or in bodybuilding, cross-pollinating all these different variations is part of the key. And in strength, you can't continue to punish yourself, just like you're talking about, Martins. You said your knees felt like glass. That's something that most people really don't understand. Help the audience understand what it feels like when you're that beat down from beating yourself up with heavy event type training.
Yeah, it got to a point where like I was, before that I was squatting 500 pounds for like 20 reps, and that was a lightweight. After Arnold in 2019, I went to go back to those, because what I would normally do is after a heavy competition, my light recovery work was these like 500-pound squats for high repetitions. My kind of sign to really check in and pull back was when I took that 500 pounds, I did one repetition. It felt like my knees were going to pop out.
Yeah.
And then it was pretty amazing because I got the stem cell therapy, and 3 months later, I was able to hit 505 again for 15 reps, nice, smooth, painless. Just 3 months. That's all it took after stem cells.
Wow.
But then I decided I'm going to keep on rehabbing until that I get most of the pain gone and I'm clear and feel strong again.
Yeah, BioAccelerator's a bomb, dude.
It is bomb. And I cannot wait to go again.
Me too.
Yeah. So kind of give everybody, for stem cell is still fairly unknown to the masses. So kind of talk. I know, Nick, you've had the treatment too. Help everybody understand. Both you guys kind of help everybody understand what it was like. I know some of the stuff you told me was pretty amazing, but most people have not talked to somebody or even two people that can actually, personally testify how it works. Yeah.
They get the stem cells out of an umbilical cord, so they're neutral cells, so they can be used on anybody without rejection. And then they can culture them outside of the country. Inside the country, they can only culture it once. Outside of the country, they can culture as much as they want. They usually culture it between 6 and 7 times, which is the perfect number. So they get 64 to 128 times more stem cells out of the country in Colombia at BioAccelerator than you would here in the United States, which is going to facilitate a lot more healing. There are also neutral cells that can become any cell in the body. They can become a brain cell, a nerve cell, cartilage, bone, anything. So when you're going to do healing and stuff like that, it's a big deal. It gives the body the things it needs to heal from. You want to add anything to that, Martins?
Yeah. The other interesting part that I was finding out is like you also have to clear your body of inflammation as much as you possibly can, because the way these stem cells basically, how they know to, in theory, attach themselves and to which parts to go on, they go where there's inflammation. So if your body is filled with inflammation, these stem cells are not going to know where the injuries essentially are. So they have a special diet that is basically you have to cut out most meat, dairy, lower your caffeine, or anything that causes inflammation in the body. So that way, whatever inflammation remains, it's just in the joints. The stem cells go right to the joints and heal those areas. That's a theory, at least.
Question: how much something like that costs for the audience out there?
So I think the treatment I'm actually not sure if I'm supposed to talk about this, but
So I know how
do you know,
much
Nick?
I know how much mine was. Mine was $27,000
Yeah,
plus the plane ticket down. So, but it was worth every dime of it because, I mean, that's a copay and a hip replacement.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't get. And the thing is now you don't have to replace your hip, so you don't have something foreign in your body, and your body can heal itself, which is a big deal. I mean, it's a really big deal. And for the cost of a replacement, you get your whole body rejuvenated. Because this also improves your heart, it improves your lungs, and all of your internal organs as well. It can even help with concussions.
Wow.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Really?
When I played for football, yeah, they went intraspinal in me and put 30 million into my spinal fluid, which goes up to your brain. Yeah, it helped.
Because I'll tell you, that's what from, when I was wrestling in Japan, man, I had too many. I deal with some pretty nasty headaches on a regular basis from all the concussions. Sounds like this could be a nice little methodology to cure that problem, as well as fucking get a little bigger and stronger, all two in one. Huh?
All at the same time. So, John, you know how you're talking with somebody and you're searching for a word and you can't find that word, but you know what the word is?
Yeah,
that's part of
all the time, brother.
But that's part of like what you suffer from a concussion. And so the recall and pulling stuff up. So when you get that treatment there, it makes it really easy. That it cuts that in half, if not more. So your recall and pulling stuff, you're that much more mentally quicker. It made a big difference for me.
So Martins, you talked about your joints. Did you feel strength as well? Did you feel like your strength actually improved from this as well?
So like I was, for years I had tendonitis in my elbows that wasn't going away. For years I had tendonitis in my knees that wasn't going away. And no matter how, what kind of physical therapy I did, I could get it to be better, but never get it to go away completely. And the thing is, whenever you have pain, your body also automatically shuts down strength to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't know if stem cells directly made me stronger, but they got rid of that tendonitis completely. I mean, it was night and day difference. And when I stop feeling that pain, when anybody stops feeling pain, the body could send that much more neural signal to activate the muscles around those areas to give you to allow you to access your full potential strength.
Yeah. No, that makes it. I mean, especially tendonitis, you get some of the knees or the elbows, you just can't push into it. It's like somebody's pushing a knife into your joint. It's just too painful. Yeah, that's really interesting information.
Absolutely. Pain management, taking care of your body, is so important for strength. I think people undermine that because there's this mindset of pushing through it and working through the pain. And I think that has a place and time. Like, let's say you're a few weeks away from a contest, you got to do it. But when you're after a competition, you got to put all your effort and focus on healing your body, because that's the only way you're going to be able to push to the next new level of strength.
True.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think, what you said right there is really misunderstood, because, people that train hard, it's like, okay, push through it, deal with the pain. There's a difference between pain in the muscle and pain in a joint that's just continually getting worse. And
Absolutely.
I think that's a big misconception. When people say, push through it, are we talking about pain that's going to heal in a muscle, or pain that's going to just get worse and stay more consistent with tendonitis in a joint?
I think for anybody starting off, it's important for them to learn the difference between muscle burn and discomfort and pain. Like, push through discomfort, push through muscle burn, but be wary of pain.
Yeah. And it's good to have somebody like yourself, a world's strongest man, say this, because then people really take it to heart, because they realize, okay, this guy's made it to the top of the top, and he recognizes the difference between the pain. Maybe they can maybe these people out there that don't understand the difference can start looking a little further in. So that's really great to have the listeners here, brother. I appreciate you saying that. That's really cool.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people, like, if anyone watches my YouTube videos, I get made fun of a lot for lifting light. Like I lift light most of the year, and people are like, "Oh, Martins will never be back in the competition shape. Look at how light he's lifting. All these other guys are always lifting heavy. They're taking this seriously." No, I'm taking it seriously by lifting light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
well, the
that's
discipline
really something other people need to learn.
Yes. Yeah. You know, the discipline sometimes is to allow yourself to heal rather than just diving in to try to push again. That becomes the discipline.
So.
You know?
Very much so. And there's other ways you could challenge yourself. Like, I'm not saying take it easy. Lifting light doesn't have to be easy. You could add pauses. You could add tempo, slow the motion down. You could make the motion less stable. There's many ways that you could still challenge your nervous system and in work capacity that don't have to involve heavier weights.
Well, on that level of people making jokes of you training light, talk to us about your Steinborn squat record. For a world record holder, it's pretty hard for somebody. I don't see how someone can say just about somebody like you, a world's strongest man, a world record holder, oh, he's training light, like they know something you don't. That just doesn't make any sense.
No,
talk to us about that Steinborn record. That's a crazy lift. How did you get into that?
So that was good. Terry Todd, who was a good friend of many of us pro strongmen, was, rest in peace, Terry Todd.
Amen.
He was a strength historian and loved digging up these old events, old-timey strength events, and kind of bringing them back to life. And the Milos Steinborn Rockover squat has been one that's kind of been forgotten for over 100 years. I think that before me, it was 100 years that that it was last broken. And that was by Milos Steinborn himself. So Terry noticed how deep my squats were, and I've always had really good mobility in my hips. I've always taken on weird exercises. I've loved doing windmills and bench presses, doing pause squats really deep. And Terry just invited me to do the world record, to break it. So I looked at just pictures. I had no videos. I just looked at pictures and kind of figured out the mechanics of it, and then tried it in training, and I was easily able to get in the 400-pound range. And all I had to do was add like 100 pounds on top of that in just a matter of a month. And I thought, you know what? I got this. I do so many raw pause squats with weights much heavier than this. If I could just figure out the angles and like how to make this as easy as possible, I'm going to nail it. And lo and behold, I did. And a lot of people would see this lift and say, oh my God, that must be so bad for your back. Look at how you're twisting. But I have a little trick. And my trick is actually, as I'm putting the bar on my back, I am bracing my torso into my thigh. So my back has nowhere to slip. And I see a lot of people trying this lift and they don't do that. And that's what kind of makes me cringe, because you don't want your back to do any of the work of twisting this weight up. I basically just, with my torso resting against my thigh, I just drop right into the hole, and it's like I don't feel anything in my back whatsoever. All my torso is supported between my thighs.
It's kind of like you make the weight do the work for you.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
It's pretty amazing when you got to check it out if you've never seen him do it. It's pretty amazing, man.
I've seen the video. Very,
I mean,
very
it's
impressive.
like, I've watched a few videos where you've been kind of like working on the training, where you're working on the setup. Of course, when you're doing a world record, you're putting all that stuff into play, but you can see when you're getting yourself ready to actually have the weight come down on you, there's many steps. I mean, you're slowly working your way into that spot. Then you're there, and it's just boom. It just looks so flawless.
Thank you. Yeah, what
effortless is more like it. It looks like you're not even struggling. It's like,
I have
it's up and down and done.
I have plenty more in the tank on that left, and I would love to, before I retire, to break that record one more time. I want to get the 600-pound range.
Wow.
Well,
My-
brother,
my-
you don't look like you're having trouble with the current world record. I'd say that one's in the bank if you keep working on it. You know,
that's the plan. That's the plan. I'll bring it back
You should
at
just
least
keep
one more time.
Keep breaking it by 5 pounds.
I was considering that, but yeah, I don't know. I'll consider that. I was like, why not?
Yeah. It's not a bad idea. You just keep breaking it and breaking it and breaking it till it gets up to 600 pounds.
Yeah.
yeah, I got a feeling
if
that
they're
when
willing
you're
to,
done with
pay
this
for
one,
it.
that's it. If I got a feeling when you're done with this thing, it's going to be that record's going to stand for a long time. Which that's really fucking cool, brother. You know.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that is really cool.
But
I've
yeah, I
seen
like
some
Nick.
guys get really.
That's the
I've
way
seen
to do
some guys
it,
get
Nick.
really
Like I said,
close. So
yeah, I love it. You got to take Nick's idea and just keep knocking it off 5-10 pounds and just keep taking these paydays. Boom, boom, boom. It's a journey.
I don't know.
The journey
I-
used to do that with. He used to do that with a log. You know.
Exactly. That's my whole point.
I'm looking at his face right now. Something telling me he's gonna go big or go home.
and that's usually Martins. Plus, he's got a go off switch, so he goes 100 miles an hour. He don't stop.
yeah, there's a part of me that just kind of wants to get it over with. Just put that number down.
Yeah.
Focus on other things.
Yeah, I can see it on your face.
Yeah. I definitely have considered the inching it up approach.
Well, you're gonna make a lot more money inching it up.
Yeah, that's true. But it does take. The thing is, when I break that record, it becomes a big part of my training. And if I'm preparing for other shows,
Fair enough.
it's like I'd rather get the money from a big show rather than whatever smaller change I get from breaking the record.
Fair play on that one for sure.
Yeah,
fair play.
Absolutely. So you got to get paid for all this effort. That's for sure. You know, there's no question about that. So there's this. I've heard you talk about one of your philosophies of training. Forgive me, I'm forgetting the first 2 words. There's 4 words. It's blank, blank, load, explode. I love the principle behind this. Please talk about
that.
It. Yeah, talk to the audience about this. It's a great philosophy.
Learn, control, and then explode.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So and I learned this from Tom DeLong, an old strength coach I had. Just a legend of a guy, but he had such a good mind for this. And I followed this approach my entire life. Is first you want to learn the motion, all the insides and out, the ideal positioning, and then you want to control it. That is build strength and understanding in every single angle of the motion, not trying to rush it to be explosive or fast or heavy, neither of that. Staying very light until you feel like you've built confidence and understanding through the entire range of motion. And once you've built that control of the motion up, then you add weight, then you add speed.
That right there, I think could save a lot of people from having a lot of injuries, because everybody wants to be strong, but nobody really wants to put the work into the stages to get there. And I love this, what you're saying here. It's so perfect. And just those 4 words summarize it so perfectly. And again, coming from somebody like you, people got to listen to it,
Absolutely.
Have you been doing that with all your lifts your whole career? Has that been one of your staples?
Yes. And I'll even recycle it. Like even though I've been doing squats for 20 years, like it's just, if I've just finished a competition, I'll pretend like I got to relearn that motion. Like I try to relearn it by looking at what's become deficient, where there's pain, try to understand why there's pain, try to understand why there's instability. So I'm like relearning what's working, what's not working in the motion. So like, let's say I'm having some tendonitis in my quad tendon. Then I'm relearning the motion by doing some box squats, lessening the range of motion for a little while. And I'm doing that light until that knee pain goes away. And then I start adding weight, and then I slowly take the box away.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a big
Nick,
deal right there.
Because you've been training, shit at a high level longer than anybody I know. Christ, I mean, you've been a high level power lifter, Jesus Christ. I mean, when did you became high level for decades ago? I mean, isn't this kind of a cool simplification of how all this complex shit works?
That was pretty masterful explanation of it, actually. It's
Well,
probably one
isn't
of the best I've ever heard. And
Thank you, Nick.
he's absolutely right. And without thinking about it, that's the exact process that you should be going through, and the exact one we all follow. I just
Hell yeah,
never...
Nick totally does that. He was just explaining about his approach to rebuilding his deadlifts. He's basically just starting from ground up again.
Yep, exactly. And it's neat that you came up with it that way, because people are going to be able to understand that and do it so much better.
Yes.
With your explanation, it's going to make a big difference, and that'll make an impact.
I like that. I'm glad to hear that. And also, credit goes to Tom DeLong for putting into words like that.
Well, and then obviously Tom translates into you. You've got such a platform. People are going to truly not only listen, but follow what you say. So I think that's probably one of the most powerful pieces of advice that I think could be told by anyone on the planet in terms of way to get strong safely. So that's phenomenal, brother.
Awesome. I'm glad to bring that value. That's really cool. Thank you, guys.
No, absolutely. Just don't get hit by any more cars, please.
No, gosh, no. I'm very much so.
You got hit.
Much so become wary of the road.
Not twice. You didn't get hit once. You got hit twice.
No, I'm curious to hear that story now.
Yeah, let's hear it. You got to tell the story now, brother.
Oh dear goodness.
Well, you need to tell the story.
I was riding my bike. I had a meeting I had to get to at it was going to be like a Skype. It was going to be a podcast, actually.
Oh God!
Things. So I was rushing to get to a podcast, and I was just going through the side streets in LA, and I was going through a stop sign with my bike, and a car. There was a four-way stop. A car came from the left and didn't stop. Hardly slowed down at the stop sign, then started accelerating. And I thought, okay, shoot, what can I do? I don't have enough space to brake. So I veered hard to the right to go in the same direction as the car. And then the car slammed into my left side. I went flying over the car, spun in the air, and landed on my back.
Wow. Hold on. How fast was this? How fast is this fucking guy going?
It's hard to say. Maybe 20. It was just not. It's not like a crazy speed. I think any faster I would have been really messed up. But it was enough to have me go flying.
Yeah. I mean, 350 pounds flying through the air. That's got to be some serious impact.
Yeah, I mean, that car got pretty messed up too. I looked up when I hit the ground. I turned to all fours. I was just like bleeding on my left side, my knee, and oh goodness, not a pretty sight.
Oh my God.
I looked up and the first time. What about the second time?
The second time, this was me just being an idiot. It didn't include another car, actually. I was riding my bike, and it was foggy. I was taking a sharp turn, and there's these bike lanes in Santa Monica that are green paint on asphalt. And in the daytime, it's fine. But if it's cold and it's foggy, these painted bike paths become so slippery, like ice.
Oh.
And I just took a turn, and I just slammed my head and my thumb into the ground, and I broke my thumb.
Wow.
I shattered it. I'm really lucky. It's fine now. because I was supposed to have surgery for my thumb. The doctor said, "Look, if you want full function of your thumb, you're going to need surgery." And in 2 weeks after this accident, I had the Geico commercial shoot, and I was thinking, "Oh, no way, am I missing this Geico commercial shoot?" So I wrapped my thumb tight, and I did the shoot, and then I did so much rehab on my thumb, and I got it back. So thank goodness, very lucky. Knock on wood, like.
Yeah, well, that segues right into what I was going to ask you next, brother. Tell us about that. That was a fucking really cool commercial, and he was pretty clever with the wording, man. I love it. You know, you're going downtown. I love that. Tell us about that. Tell us about that experience. That was really cool.
That was fun. That was a 13-day shoot, you guys. We were up like 5 a.m. and we got to the location between 6:30 or 7 a.m. and we went until like over 7 p.m. It was just over and over again pretending to pull this truck. You know, that's the thing. I was pretending to pull the truck, but when you're pretending to pull a truck, you know, you're putting effort into it. When you're doing it for hours on end, it adds up.
You would think you do anything long enough, like that, it's still going to be draining. Because you're still leading into the harness.
I mean, I'm sure you could relate to this. Just practicing posing is exhausting.
Yes,
if you're gonna imagine practicing posing for 6 hours, constantly flexing and trying to put yourself in these positions. It's brutal.
It's funny because a while back I had this PJ Braun gave me this contact to this performance. It was me and an opera singer. And we had to do something to the limit. So she had to sing the opera song like to a max voice to the limit where she'd be about to pass out.
I want to hear this.
Yes. That's and awesome. Then for me, I had to hit a pose and hold it until I almost looked like I was going to pass out because they wanted that moment where you actually feel like you're about to pass out. And that was horrible. That was one of the hardest things I ever done.
How long did you do it for?
Oh my God! I'm telling you what, it wasn't worth the money. I would never do it again. And the lady that was filming everything, I don't know. She had some kind of. She was like a masochist or some shit.
That's for sure.
I'm telling you, because I
normal people don't come up with that.
And she would tell me that's not good enough.
You gotta go more.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was not worth the money. So I definitely know what you're talking about.
So let me get this straight, Ox. So you're posing to the point where you feel your consciousness start to drift away, and this lady's telling you it's not enough.
Yes, she wants more.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's funny. It's more. You're turning purple. Now you're turning purple.
I remember talking to the opera singer, and you know, there's a myth with the opera singers where if the voice go high pitch enough, they could break the glass. Like if you have a glass, and they start singing, and if it's high enough, the note is high enough, the glass will shatter. But I don't think it's something that could actually happen. But the opera singer was telling me,
she was telling me trying to accomplish that.
That's what she was trying to accomplish.
Oh God!
Could have been your eardrums she was going for.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. It definitely wasn't worth the money.
Well, I guess the question for Martins was the 13-day shoot worth the money for you? It sounds like Ox experience was maybe not. Was there
13 hours? 13 hours. Well, 13 days.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I thought. Forgive me. I thought you said 13 days. I was like, holy shit.
Thank goodness, no.
I said that. I was going to say that must have been a goddamn payday, brother. Holy shit.
Yeah, right. No, just one day. And yes, it was. I am so grateful for that shoot. That was awesome.
It's a good commercial.
Good commercial. Also good people I was working with. They were very cool. I've done two commercials with this crew now. I've done Hefty commercial and a Geico commercial. The same production was hired to do these commercials, and in both of them, I'm pulling something. Hefty, I'm pulling an airplane, and this one, I'm pulling a truck. So it's funny to see these guys like, oh yeah, we're doing the same thing again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's but the bottom line is it's great that, you know, we're able to take what we do and monetize it with stuff like this. That's great. You know, just having those opportunities, you know, is like a huge kudo. It's showing the hard work, you know, that you're putting in, Martin. So great job, brother. You know,
thank you, guys.
Absolutely,
you,
100%.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. I mean, if you think about it, you strip it all away, you know, we all get paid for doing what we love. And when the better you can get paid for doing what you love, I mean, we never go to work. Christ, that's the best thing about it. You know,
just living life.
Absolutely.
Great.
That's it.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So another thing I wanted to ask you, brother, is I'd heard this was another thing that I heard you talk about that I thought was really, really, it was just such a different perspective. And much like the last little bit we talked about with load explode. So every time in your progression of gaining weight and getting stronger for strongman, you have a series of exercises that you hold yourself accountable to do at the new body weight. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I always believe that no matter how heavy I am, I need to have some level of control over my body weight. Because otherwise I see myself getting sloppy or not coordinated. And one of my favorite movements is pull-ups. I really feel like it brings the back together, and I just feel like my deadlifts are stronger. Any kind of stone picks or sandbag carries get stronger. It also decompresses the body rather than compressing it. Also increases the range of motion in my shoulders so I could get better overhead pressing. And I've kind of set this goal up for myself that no matter how heavy I get, I must be able to do 5 sets of 10 pull-ups. Wow. So if I lose that ability, I don't allow myself to get heavier until I could get that number back. And when I get that number back, then I can push my body weight up again.
I'd heard you talk about pistol squats in that whole formula too.
And it's the same thing with pistol squats. I want to be able to do sets of 10 with those.
But I don't think I've ever been able to do a fucking pistol squat in my whole fucking life, let alone where you're at 340, 50 pounds. So you're basically, every time you go another 10 pounds up, 340 to 350, 320, 330,
that's right.
You're making sure that you can do pull-ups and pistol squats.
Absolutely. Because I feel like if I cannot perform a pistol squat, something isn't set right in my mobility, stability, or my strength.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is really, I got to tell you, brother, this is all really intelligent shit. When I'm talking about intelligent, I mean, it's just from the standpoint of being strong and fit and, you know, athletic. This is some really, really powerful shit you're throwing down for us here, you know?
Thank you. Thank you. I love that.
Very knowledgeable beyond your years. Very knowledgeable beyond your years.
Yeah. Yeah,
and Nick, you have been as well. I've listened to a lot of your advice over these years, so I have you to thank for a lot of my success as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm really proud of you. I couldn't be more proud of you. I really couldn't. It's so neat to watch the things you've done, and it is so amazing to watch you come back from all this and win the Rogue Invitational. That was amazing. That made my whole day. The whole day.
Mine too.
Well, brother, clearly with all of the successes that you've had and some of these different really intriguing methodology you're using, you know, there's talk to the audience about some of the other things that you do that cultivate your success, because you've had a whole lot of success in a very, very, I don't want to say short period of time, but you've been busting your ass. But what you've accomplished at your age is pretty amazing. So what other things, you know, can you talk to the audience about in terms of things that you do that can maybe help them become the best version of themselves?
Okay. One of probably the best things I've done ever since I was a kid was every single workout I do, I write down what I'm doing. That's huge, because then I know what I need to improve on. every single time I go into the gym. It's not this abstract number in my head that I know exactly what I need to do to improve. And every single time I work out, I try to improve something, try to do it better than I've ever done before. If I cannot get something heavier, that might mean I do more repetitions. If I cannot do more repetitions, it might mean that I'm just working on the quality of the motion. Hell, if I'm sick or really feeling out of it, I might just try to do a plank longer than I have ever at whatever current body weight I'm at. But every single time, I'm trying to push that marker just a little bit forward. And I've been able to do that because I record every single thing I do. So I know I could always go back to my record, see what my best is at something, and push it forward that day.
Yeah.
Now you have an app where you do a lot of this now too, right? And you also do it with other people. That's
right. So right now we just started the Wreck-It Power app. We just built this a year ago. And right now the app is in its beginning stages, but it's still really cool because it follows my workouts. Every single workout that I do, I put up onto this app with videos, introductions, and explanations for how I do things and why I do things, so people can follow along my journey and my strength. And very soon, we're going to be adding more prepackaged programming. So if you don't want to follow along my workout, you just want to follow a generic workout that I built for beginners or intermediate people or advanced athletes, they'll be able to do that as well. And then down the road, also more coaches.
That's
cool
great,
stuff,
brother.
Man.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Making all of what you do and how you do things accessible to people. I think that's a huge. With the internet now, but then more importantly, when somebody finds somebody like yourself, you've got tons of fans out there, and they want to connect with you and see what you're doing, and you've got an app to basically help this whole process. So great job. How do people find that out, brother?
So yeah, that's right. Go to the App Store or Google Play and download the Wreck-It Power app, guys.
I love it.
It's a pretty amazing thing. It's pretty cool. They got to go check that out.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely, do check it out. We have a free week trial, so there's no reason you can't try it.
That's it. Going back to what you're saying a minute ago, I love that philosophy of every day you got to find a way to get better a little bit. That's one of the things I pride myself in too. Somehow, some way, my feet hit the floor. I don't want to go to bed until I've found a way to improve myself some way, shape, or form. So you're living by that same standard. Obviously, you keep that in your training, which obviously is pretty amazing, because we've all had those training days when it just feels like things aren't going the right way, but you're finding ways to do it no matter what. And I love the open-mindedness of that, and that people can realize that they can go to the gym and they can find a way to get a good workout, even though their bench might not feel the way they want it to, When did you adapt that? When did you adapt that principle?
No one's ever asked me that. I think I must have gotten it from my dad, because my dad instilled to me like how important it is to move that marker forward. He instilled this discipline of writing down all my workouts, and he also reinforced that weight's not the most important thing to improve, that there's other things to improve, and that every time in the gym, all you have to do is just be a little bit, just a tiny bit better than before. And then I started thinking like, well, what other way? Like, what are all the ways I could be better? And I just got my mind going. So I think I owe that to my dad, from all the way back from when I was 9 or 10 years old, lifting with my papa.
Oh,
that's cool, man. That's really cool. That's especially having that experience with your dad. That makes it that much better.
Yeah.
100%. I like training with my son when I get a chance.
Yeah.
When he has time.
That's the best.
It's always an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he likes it so much, but I love doing it.
That's why I'm laughing, because you said when he has time.
He runs out of time a lot, but
and I gotta say, I hated it when I started. I did. My dad pushed me for a while. And then I got addicted.
So you said your dad was clearly an influence early on. Talk to us about some of the other really influential people in your journey here. I know Ode Haugen was a huge piece of that, but I'm sure
Ode
there's
Haugen
quite a
was
few.
Ode Haugen was huge, absolutely huge.
He's influenced a lot of people, you know. It's crazy.
Yes. Influenced me.
Yeah. I remember watching Ode as a kid, competing in strongman, and I was amazed that he was in his 50s. I even watched like on the Science Channel or something, like them showing off this guy in his 50s that he was lifting stones and still competing. I thought, I want to be like that when I'm that age. I want to be that strong. And then I come out to California when I was 20, and I started calling around for competitions because I wanted to join a competition. And the one that I saw was at the LA Fitness Expo. I called that number up. I had never done a heavy competition to this caliber, and I barely trained strongman. And Ode picks up on the phone. I didn't know it was him, but I told him I want to compete, and he asked me how strong I am. I told him my strength. He's like, "Oh yeah, okay, you're pretty strong, but not quite strong enough." I thought, well, shoot. I don't care if I lose. I just want to meet these guys so I can meet some people to train with and have training partners. He's like, "Oh, why didn't you say so? Just come by my garage. I'll help you out."
Oh my gosh.
That is so perfect. That is so Ode right there, you know? Oh my God.
Guys, I had no idea it was him because of his heavy accent. I couldn't quite pick up the name of the person I was talking to. So
he does sound like when you're talking to him.
It's like you have to learn a new language a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. 100% there. I have to put headphones in when I talk to him on the phone, so it's loud enough for me to kind of understand it. But I love that guy. Love him to death.
I love him.
I agree.
Absolutely. When I showed up at his garage, I was just starstruck. Like, oh my gosh, this is the guy I've been watching on TV that I wanted to be like, and now I'm training with him. Is this really happening?
So outside of Ode, were there other people that came along that kind of helped influence you and you know, keep you moving down the right path? Obviously, you mentioned the I forgot his name, the gentleman who taught you that 4-part, very, very unique way of learning to train. So there was him.
Tom DeLong really helped me out. He also unfortunately passed away very recently, but he was amazing. He was absolutely amazing. And he was at the training hall with us and helped me really refine my squat and deadlift technique. East Coast, West Coast, Scott Brengel. He was a coach from East Coast, West Coast. He's been a huge influence. I mean, he taught me how to pull a truck, how to do a setup, how to build a tension in the truck setup, how to drive with my hips and knees.
That was a Freak Factory, wasn't it?
That's right.
Was that Freak Factory?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Freak Factory
yes, I remember. That's right. Yeah. Scott's a cool cat, man.
Yeah, very much so.
And he also taught me how to use my hip rock on a stone, not just the front squat of the stone, but to use momentum of the stone rolling up my body. So that was huge. Nick also taught me I need to learn to because I had no off switch. This is America's Strongest Man. He was telling me, "Dude, what are you doing here? You have World's Strongest Man coming up. There's no purpose for you to be America's Strongest Man. You don't have an off switch, man. You gotta learn to flick that thing off." I mean, that talk right there is echoed in my mind for all these years. So I think back to Nick when I take these long breaks now where I'm like, I don't need to compete. I need to chill out.
Come back, heal up,
be
prepared and be strong and come back and tear apart a contest. And you just did
right. That's right.
It.
I need to find my off switch.
Well, that's really cool. So, Nick, you're added to the list of influential people here for Martins. That's really cool, brother.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty honored. So thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely
that.
you are.
Yeah, that's really cool. So outside of those, was there anybody else, or was that were those kind of the main players in the influence?
I'd say my dad and my grandpa. And
I can't forget your grandpa. He's the one that started the whole thing, carrying
That's
stones,
right,
man.
I don't think I know how to. I don't think I'm as good at lifting stones without him.
Yeah, and you're phenomenal at lifting stones. So yeah, absolutely.
I was doing that as a toddler.
It's like
you're just born to do
it.
Destined. You were just destined to be the world's strongest man, brother. It's like your plan was put together. When you were just a little guy. I love it.
Yeah. 9 years old.
Yeah. Well, so here's another, obviously the show titled Legends of Iron. You're clearly a legend and living legend, which makes it even that much better because you can influence people as you're alive and after you pass. But I guess the question is, what is it when you finally hang it up and you're gone? What legacy is it that you want to leave behind, brother?
Oh, what a question. I haven't quite figured out where my place is in this world in this regard, but I want to find a way to help people get along. More than anything. I just want people to love each other and then to get strength is nice. But if I could somehow use my journey in this to help people be more at peace with other people and love each other, that's the most important thing. I don't think anything can trump that if I could add something in this world for people to get along.
That's absolutely amazing because it shows what a good human being you are.
I was going to say that, when I asked that question, there would have been a lot of choices that one could have picked before that one would have come up. So, I mean, that really is a huge, it really just shows you as, your character as a person. Yes, you're the world's strongest man. Yes, you're this amazing strength athlete. Yes, all of these things, but you strip it all away. You're just a good person, doing what you're good at, hoping that you can make a difference in kind of overall mankind, which that speaks volumes about your character, brother.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah.
I really wasn't expecting that answer. But it's a beautiful answer.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, very much so.
Still have yet to figure out how to put that put it to work. But I think about
you already are though. You're leading by example.
Yeah.
And that's that's what sets it. I mean, we need more people that lead by example in this world, and it's neat to see you doing something like that.
Thank you, guys.
And you really, what Nick is saying is totally correct. I mean, you have a way about you. Yes, you're this man eater. You're this. You have all of the characteristics of a world class strength athlete, but at the same time, you'll wear the clothes you want to wear. You're not too concerned with this image. You're happy to smile and be goofy. It shows that you're truly living your life in the regard of what you're talking about, not trying to create this image that's marketable. You're just being you. And I think from the outsider looking in, now that you said that, brother, I think you're already starting. I think that whole legacy's already beginning,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Use that momentum.
Just with that big smile, that big smile, and you lean back in your chair, your head tips back, it's the most, you can feel the genuine energy that you have is very infectious in a very good way. And I think that the more that people get to know you after that, because of course they know the guy that's the world's strongest man. They know the guy that just crushed the Rogue Invitational. They know all this stuff, but to hear you as the person speak, this every person that you talk to that gets a little taste of this is going to take you're starting to spread that legacy already, brother. So I got to tell you, really fucking cool. And I don't think any of us were expecting that answer.
Yeah. That was a good question. I don't know if anyone's asked it that way.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, on that level, if you could go back, say 10 years and give yourself a piece of advice, what would you tell yourself?
Invest in Bitcoin.
Invest in Bitcoin and invest in Tesla.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So what would you tell yourself in terms of, I guess now it's a two-part question. A, for your strength career. And B,
John,
what's that?
John, I said John didn't get the answer he wanted, so he keep going.
That's his reaction.
That's it. Well, because we're looking for some more meaning. I mean, you're dropping some serious fucking pearls here. So I think it's really important that people get to hear this shit, Of course, we all could go back and find an investment to make ourselves make a bunch of money. But, what would you tell yourself in terms of your strength career? That would be the first half of the question. The second half, what would you tell yourself in terms of just the, your thought in terms of your legacy of helping people get along better? What would be the advice you'd give to yourself to do a better job? You're doing a phenomenal job, but I'm just looking for what are the little details that if you could go back and do it again, what would you have done differently? Because you've done so great with both of these things already.
Yeah, that is a good question because I don't have the answer to that. I don't really know. Like maybe tell myself, don't do 11 competitions in a year. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah. Nick, you were just a little late with your advice on that,
Yeah, well, actually, I think
that advice
well ahead of
early.
time.
It didn't hit. I was too,
I think I did tell him, I'm like, make sure now that you've done this, you don't do too many more, because now that you're world's strongest man, everybody's going to want you at everything, and you need to pick and choose. Mm-hmm. And what happened is what happened.
Oh yeah, love that.
Yeah. So I don't think he's going to do that many in a contest in a year ever again.
It finally hit.
Sometimes it takes some people a little bit longer to listen, but it's okay. As long as it happens, it's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think to answer the second part of the question, I think back then I was especially shy. I didn't like being in front of a camera. Didn't like being in front of people, to express myself, to talk my mind, and frankly, just saying something like the stuff I said today about
you really grew out of that one.
Yeah. I mean, just to see, like, I would be so nervous and embarrassed to say something like, you're asking what kind of legacy I want to leave behind. I wouldn't have been able to even utter those words. Mm-hmm. So to kind of tell myself to hurry up and get in front of people and start talking to people, start putting your voice out there, start putting your mind out there, like, don't wait for it. And to tell myself, like, you can do it. Like, you can be in front of people and talk. The shyness is all in your head, man. Like, I think I needed to get that message across to myself earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, brother, I'll tell you, this has been, you've dropped some serious pearls in this episode here. I mean, there's a lot of takeaways for the people listening to take. Having you on the show, you really brought some really cool stuff in front of us and for our listeners to hear. There's no question down the road, we're going to love to have you back on the show if that's something you're going to be cool with, because your journey is just, I got a feeling your journey is just getting started, brother. You're just getting the momentum going here,
Thank you, man. I like to think so as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long, long career for you. And it's going to be a long,
Yeah.
joyous career.
How old are you right now, brother?
31.
Yeah, this is like you're in like that maturity of strength right now, you know?
Yeah. Things are just going to get more fun.
And we've got someone at the highest level that career is just going to get bigger and better with the underlying intent of making the world a better fucking place in terms of people getting along. What else do you want? You know, come on.
That's awesome. It's great stuff.
Well, brother, I got to say, it was absolutely wonderful having you on the show. Nick and Occam, do you have anything else for
man.
Martins before we cut him loose?
Nah, it's been a pleasure just listening to you speak and just learning more about your training and your philosophy and your mindset when it comes to training. It's been a pleasure, man. You know,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you know I love you to death. I mean, you know I do. And you're just a joy to be around. And I couldn't be more proud of you. And I love the fact that you're sharing your knowledge and your experience with other people, because that's how other people grow. And you're doing a great job by leading by example. And that makes me really proud of you.
Thank you,
and it makes me happy to say you're my friend.
Thank you, Nick. I'm so happy. Happy to be your friend as well. And so you guys are all a great vibe. I'd love to come on board again if you guys will have.
Well, brother, we're going to look forward to having you on board. And I got to say, you know, you are literally a living legend right now. And the fact that you're doing as well as you are, everybody's behind you. We're behind you. And the fact that you're going to take and do more great things with your career, but yet let it translate into a better place. We can't be happier to have you on the show, and we can't wait to have you back. So, brother, keep up the good work. Like I said, you are a legend of iron, my brother.
Thank you, guys. I would also like to introduce you to this lady that was in the back of this. Is Max, my girlfriend. She's been sweetly sitting out in the back.
Aw,
that's
great. Cute. Right on.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, brother, thank you so much for your time. We'll definitely have you on again in the future. That being said, everybody tune in next time. We are the Legends of Iron. We will see you soon. Legends of Iron is brought to you by MuscleNets, the creator of Carnivore. Carnivore is the most powerful beef protein on the planet.